Okay. Well, I'm gonna wait for y'all to come in. Nice music. Appreciate that, Union Army Ball. So we're gonna just cut right into this here. So I got a book just today. I ordered it a couple days ago, but it's Yakub, the father of mankind. Yes, that Yakub, the one who created white folks allegedly on the island of Patmos. We got the book here. This is by the honorable Elijah Muhammad, the first leader, official, well, actually technically the second leader after Farad Muhammad of the Nation of Islam. And so, to me, this is as close as we can find, as close as I can think of anyway, to the foundation of the idea of the Yakub theory, the idea that white folks were created by Yakub, who they call Melon Head, and everything like that. So we're gonna just cut right into it. I'm not gonna read every single page. It's 100 and let me make sure here. I just want to make sure, like 106 pages. Yeah, 107 pages. I'm not gonna read every single page. I got man. I mean, I almost regret reading the whole thing of Ernst Jünger, and that was like 40 something pages. But you know what? I feel good. I'm glad that I did it. But so we're gonna just find the good stuff here. I'm gonna go from here. So let's go ahead and let's go ahead and do it. Okay, the curse of the white race. All right, the secret of the white race just couldn't be exposed before their time of rule was out. If the original black nation had known that this new, unalike, blue-eyed race would not be accepted by the God of righteousness, at the end of 6,000 years of their time, there would not have been one left on our planet. The knowledge of them was kept as a secret from the common people, as they are symbolically spoken of under the name Cain, who murdered his brother. God marked Cain so that the people would not recognize the murder of their righteous brother, lest the people would kill him. Genesis 4:15. Though God pronounced a curse on Cain coming from the earth, which had opened her mouth to receive the righteous blood from the murderer's hand, he was to be driven from the face of the earth and from the face of God. The earth shall not yield her strength to Cain, and he shall be a fugitive and a vagabond. Genesis 4:10, verse 12. Moses reminded them of this in Deuteronomy 28:45 through 52. Of course, the so-called N-words, we'll just put it that way, even though they say we're just going to do that, yeah, are warned in the same chapter to let the divine chastisement or destruction of their enemies serve a lesson to their future greatness, or they will meet with such fate. Our Father created and made the universe, and one of us made them. As we made the present universe, we will build a new universe. Can the white scientists do the same? We played sheep while they worked. Now we are waking, and we will build a new world which will make yours look like child's play. We have above you 7 inhabited worlds. They are with us. These 7 worlds, or heavens, the stars, and the moon, show the weight of our brains. What do you have that we did not give you? You shall soon come to know who is the wisest and the most powerful. How the black man rules. We, the original nation of earth, says Allah, the maker of everything, sun, moon, and stars, and the race called white race, are the writers of the Bible and Quran. We make such history once every 25,000 years. When such history is written, it is done by 24 of our scientists. One acts as judge or God for the others, and 23 actually do the work of getting up the future of the nation, and all is put into one book, and at intervals, where such and such or portion will come to pass. That people will be given that part of the book. Through one among that people, from one of the 12 major scientists, as it is then called a scripture, which actually means script of writing from something original or book. There is a significance to the number 24. Scientists in the 25,000 years. The number 24 scientists used is in accordance with the numbers within the hours in our day, and the measurement of the circumference of our planet around the equator in the region of our poles, Arctic and Antarctic oceans. Our planet is not exactly 25,000 miles in circumference. It is 24,896, and we, according to astronomy, didn't have a full 24-hour day, but near that, 23 hours, 56 minutes, and 46 seconds. The change made in our planet's rotation at the poles is about 1 minute a year and takes 25,000 years to bring about a complete change in the region of the poles. The actual poles are inclines 23.2 degrees to the plane of its orbit. The original Black Nation used 23 scientists to write the future of that nation for the next 25,000 years. And the 24th is a judge, or the one God, Allah. Allah taught me that once upon a time they made history to last for 35,000 years. It was 6 trillion years, so God taught me before he put into you the sun. But after the sun, then other gods were born, and they brought up the same idea: make something out of fire. Never have you known what and how fire came into space, and that stars of fire and a big star we call sun is nothing but a ball of fire. I want you to remember these things so that you don't make mistake. If the God created himself out of matter, and which still exists here, then he taken it out of darkness of space. How then can we declare that the fiery stars, along with our sun, was created out of space? Where did the fire come from? So today, everything is full of fire. I'm full of fire. You're full of fire. This is our figure here? No, I'm telling you here today. But you keep coming back. I will tell you. But if I tell you everything, you will forget mostly all of it. Then you will start adding in your God science, and I will remember what I said after you get through with it. Smile. The science of numbers, we're going to go ahead and skip past that. Let's go ahead and change in rulership. We're going to skip past that. Okay, we're going to get to the good stuff here. The birth of Mr. Yakub. Here we go. Okay. Our 66 trillion years. What's going on, Will DeMarco? Our 66 trillion years from the moon has proven a great and wise show of the original power to build wonders in the heavens and earth. 6,000 years ago, or to be more exact, 6,600 years ago, as Allah taught me, our nation gave birth to another God whose name was Yakub. He started studying the life germ of man to try making a new creation, new man, whom our 24 scientists had foretold 8,400 years before the birth of Mr. Yakub, and the scientists were aware of his birth and work before he was born, as they are today of the intentions or ideas of the present world. According to the word of Allah to me, Mr. Yakub was seen by the 23 scientists of the Black Nation over 15,000 years ago. They predicted that in the year 8400, that was in our calendar year, before this world of the white race, this man, Yakub, would be born 20 miles from the present holy city, Mecca, Arabia. And that at the time of his birth, the satisfaction and dissatisfaction of the people would be 70% satisfied, 30% dissatisfied. And that when this man was born, he will change civilization, the world, and produce a new race of people who would rule the original Black Nation for 6,000 years, from the 9,000th year to the 15,000th year. After that time, the original Black Nation would give birth to one, whose wisdom, knowledge, and power would be infinite, one whom the world would recognize as being the greatest and mightiest God since the creation of the universe, and that he would destroy Yakub's world and restore the original nation, or ancient nation, into power to rule forever. This mighty one is known under many names. He has no equal. There never was one like him. He is referred to in the Bible as God Almighty, and in some places as Jehovah, the God of gods and the Lord of lords. The Holy Quran refers to him as Allah, the one God. Beside him, there is no God, and there is none like him. The supreme being, the mighty, the wise, the best knower, the light, the life giver, the Mahdi. This is he whom I have met and am missioned by. He also referred to as Christ, the second power, the second Jesus, the Son of Man, who is wise and is all powerful. He knows he knows how to reproduce the universe and the people of his choice. He will remove and destroy the present old, warring, wicked world of Yakub, the Caucasian world, and set up a world of peace and righteousness out of the present so-called N-words, who are rejected and despised by this world. Mr. Yakub was naturally born out of the 30% dissatisfied. As we know, wherever there is a longing or demand for a change, nature will produce that man who will bring it about. Allah taught me that the present percentage of dissatisfaction is 90%, 98%, near 100% with the present ruling powers. This 100% dissatisfied will bring about a 100% change. Yakub did not bring about 100% change, but near 90%. So there you go. Let's see here. Let's go ahead and I'm going to take a short little break here. Just kind of see what's going on. How's everyone doing tonight? Y'all doing okay? How's everyone? Well, or how's y'all morning going? I know some of y'all are international and everything else like that. Yeah, hell yeah. Yeah. Oh boy. All right, so we got Yakub's determined idea. Let's get into it. Like I said, Yakub's determined idea. Like I said, this is broken up into this isn't actually an official book. This is just 2 pages at a time of little quotes and stuff. So let's get into it. Yakub's determined idea. Yakub was playing with 2 pieces. The black Israelites are entertaining. Yeah. I'm Allah. Oh, you're Allah? Okay, well, inshallah to you. Inshallah. You know. Yakub was playing with 2 pieces of steel one day. And that's where he learned his own work by playing with 2 pieces of steel, watching their reaction, one attracting the other, that this steel would attract each other and come together. And he looked at that reaction. He looked up to his uncle and said, "Uncle, when I get an old man," that would now mean he was 6 years old. He was a man, born a black scientist with a big head. He had a great big head, and they used to call him, so God told me, the big head Yakub. Deleted a playlist of national music over 1,000 songs in it, so I have to be remaking it today. Oh, man. Oh, lordy. Okay. His uncle saying, "When I get an old man, I'm going to make a man that will rule you." His uncle looked at his nephew and said, "What will you make other than something that will cause bloodshed and mischief in the land?" He didn't tell his uncle. No. He knew that his uncle was telling the truth. He said to his uncle, "That's all right. I know what you do not know." Yakub did not tell him that he was wrong, because that was just the thing he was going to do. So he told him, "I know what you did not know," and he did. I wonder if Dudiev would have ever made a Chechen version of the NOI. Probably, yeah. Okay. He learned his future from playing with steel. It is steel and more steel that this made race, the white race, are still playing with. Steel has become the most powerful of all metal for the people. What he really saw in playing with the 2 pieces of steel was the magnetic power of attraction. Muhammad, who is questioning Muhammad? It's God's. He was in the circle of gods, and that was God speaking to him, questioning him on his make of a man. When Yakub got to be a grown man, he went out to start grafting the man that he decided He would make a ruler from us. Think over that. He didn't go out to make him otherwise, but to get him out of us, because we had the right material in us for the making of such a man. You might be saying, well, Muhammad, what kind of material? Yakub, in his college, school in his day, and time in the laboratory, took the germ of the black man and began experimenting on it to see what was in it. He saw the black man's germ, two people. One was weaker than the other. The germ was brown. So he kept experimenting with it. He said, yes, I can separate the brown germ, which is weaker than the other one, than the black one. And I can make a man out of that germ. I will teach him my wisdom, and then he will impose on the black one, until the black one produces a god greater than I. Yakub discovered that black germ that he would use to rule a superior man. How this sure can be considered Islam. Yeah, definitely. I mean, let's go ahead and continue on. It would take 6,000 years for the black germ to produce a white man that would have more wisdom than he. Then he could erase my civilization and set his into orbit. Unlike in the steel was making the steel come together from the light. The attraction of the magnetic power drawing the two together. He saw his future right from the steel reacting. So today, for 6,000 years, they have been playing with steel. He saw that steel was a good piece of metal to murder with. He fashioned all kinds of weapons out of steel. They are using it today. They're clashing in war with steel. The first time they went to war with steel was bows and arrows, shooting arrows. They also made flint, but okay. All right. They're clashing in war with steel. The first time shooting arrows. They began from stone to that. Okay, fair enough. Okay. They learned to put a little steel on the end of the stone. So today, he's learned to make a gun that could shoot steel into our bodies. Well, actually, lead, really, but okay. He's been a murderer ever since he set foot on the face of the earth. The piece attracting and drawing the other under its power. In this, he saw an unlike human being made to attract others who could, with the knowledge of tricks and lies. Here we go with tricknology. Here we go with the tricknology. Here we go. Of tricks and lies, ruled the original black man. Until that, the nation could produce one greater and capable of overcoming and making manifest his race of tricks and lies with a nation of truth. Yakub was the founder of unlike attracts and like repels. Though Mr. Yakub was a member of the black nation, he began school at the age of 4. He had an unusual sized head. I'm so confused. I'm like some weird space aliens book. This is talking about Yakub. This is something that the Nation of Islam talks about. It's wild stuff, man. But this is the origin. This is the foundation, as far as I know. This is the foundation of Yakub and the theory behind how white folks were created. So this is crazy. Like I say, this is some stuff right here. This is some stuff. This is, whenever you see black folks saying that, white folks, cave beasts and all that, you need to go back to the original book written by the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, the second leader of the Nation of Islam. Anyway, let's get into this, man. Oh, Lord have mercy. The piece attracting and drawing the other under its power. In this, he saw an unlike human being made to attract others who could, with the knowledge of tricks and lies, rule the original black man, until that nation could produce one greater and capable of overcoming and making manifest his race of tricks and lies with a nation of truth. Yakub was the founder of unlike attracts and like repels, though Mr. Yakub was a member of the black nation. He began school at the age of 4. He had an unusual sized head. When he had grown up, the others referred to him as the big head scientist. At the age of 18, I'm sorry. I was trying not to laugh. Okay. All right. Regain my composure. Okay. At the age of 18, he had finished all of the colleges and universities of his nation and was seen preaching on the streets of Mecca, making converts. He made such impressions on the people that many began following him. So there we go. Yeah, the original big brain. Exactly. Oh, Lord have mercy. Okay. The science of the gods. Okay. Okay, let me look at this here. Okay, this gets into more of, Master Farad Muhammad, who was the actual founder of the Nation of Islam. I want to give a brief little history before we get into this bit here of what I know, which may not be that much. So before the Nation of Islam really came about on July 4th, 1930, there was another group called the Moors. Once again, we refer back to the Moors, who conquered Spain and conquered a lot of Europe, right? So black folks, and particularly this guy, Noble Drew Ali. I'm going to go ahead and type that name in the chat. That way I want y'all to look this up and kind of get your own ideas. Noble Drew Ali. The Noble Drew Ali was, probably one of the more famous brothers who came up with the Moors and all that type of thing. So Farad Muhammad was part of the Moors. He ended up, there's a lot of beef going on and everything else. And Farad Muhammad later broke off. Comes to Detroit, Michigan. And he's a rug salesman. So we hear, this is kind of, I'm mixing the two kinds of histories here a little bit. So just bear with me. So Farad Muhammad starts teaching about, hey, black folks, y'all are treating bad by white folks up here, even in the north, right? And, he starts with this. And so one of his first big converts, of course, is the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. Elijah Muhammad is, of course, half white. They don't really like talking about that, but this is the reason why black nationalism is in a lot of ways, they aren't as picky as white folks when they get into, more purity of melanin, because ultimately Elijah Muhammad was half white. I'm just saying. So that's kind of a basic history lesson. And of course, from there, then you had, Elijah Muhammad, continued on. And then Louis Farrakhan came along, Louis Alcott, and everything else. But just to say, I want to kind of outline that history a little bit before I go into it. So, the science of the gods. He learned from studying the germ of the black man under the microscope that there were two people in him, and that one was black, the other brown. He said if he could successfully separate the one from the other, he could graft the brown germ into its last stage, which would be white. With his wisdom, he could make the white, which he discovered was the weaker of the black germ, which would be unlike, rule the black nation for a time until a greater one than Yakub was born. According to the words to us from Almighty God Allah, in the person of Master Farad Muhammad. Yeah, first pick of him on the Google. Yeah. But yeah, let's go ahead and continue on. Farad Muhammad, to whom praise is due forever, who has now made manifest the secret of the gods. This is the secret of the gods that we are discussing, and not that of mere human beings. In taking a god from a god, the god. Oh my goodness. Okay, let's go ahead and skip down. Okay, race of people, or nation, or aboriginal, is easy to make in what the name means, devil. Because of grafting, the very nature, the entire human being is more fit for the teaching of grafting or law. That's something other than which he came from. I don't know. I've never seen, guys that look like, they've never seen this shit. Yeah. Now, as we see in fruit, fowl, and in the grafting of animals and whatnot. Holy shit. Did I write this? Okay. Sorry. That the product always becomes lesser and lesser as we continue to graft. Now we come to the white man and the black man. Here we have a black man who is the original man, of whom, let me go ahead and point this out here. Nation of Gods and Earths. Nation of Gods and Earths, or the 5%ers, are the ones that broke off from the Nation of Islam, partly because Clarence 13X or Clarence Smith had problems. Basically, I think that he liked to drink. He also liked to gamble. Because of that, he decided to go amongst go against the hustlers and go against, the folks that are living on the streets and everything, out in New York City. So he simplified things. He simplified things to 120 questions, 120 degrees, or 120 lessons, however way you want to put it. The first question, or the first lesson that's brought up is, who is the original man? So they ask you that question, who is the original man? The answer that you give, as far as I know, exactly word for word is, the original man is the Asiatic black man, cream of the universe. This is what they, once again, I had one laugh. I'm just saying it's that this is the belief that they have. Now, to me, in a lot of ways, Nation of Islam has changed because they allow Hispanics to come in. They allow the Puerto Ricans to come in as well. So they got, they're trying to have that black love, brown pride type of thing. So, you know what I mean? But ultimately, I think with the Yakub theory, I was thinking about this. In general, the Yakub theory is seen as something to bring out like a fruitcake. Yeah. You laugh in the face of the truth. I know. Did the new Black Panther have anything to do with NOI? I know they're Islamic. I don't know about the new Black Panther Party. I don't really know too much about it. I'm sure that they take some influence from NOI. I'm sure, but I don't know anything else about it. Like I say, there's some fascinating history, and I've done some of the older videos that I did talking about Nation of Islam. Blasian master race, exactly. But okay. Like I say, there's some good stuff here. Before Mr. Yakub, they had never reached this particular point of unlike attraction. So basically, even people like Elijah Muhammad, or excuse me, people like Louis Farrakhan will bring up Yakub, but he's much more, he just kind of sprinkles it in. It's not something that's as preached about. Like I say, it's not something that the Nation of Islam talks about as much as they used to. Like I say, further, it's like the real hardcore pro-blacks that I'm sure that they're still out there on YouTube. I'm sure they are, and they're everywhere else. But it's like in general, it's not really as talked about as much from what I've seen in the Nation of Islam. They don't really talk about it as much as they used to, at least in my view. But yeah, best human being was Jackie Arctov, though. Okay, let's see here. Let me. I want to try to find the good stuff, especially when they were talking about Big Head and all that. Oh, it's just, oh Lord, have mercy. Okay, so yeah, the origin of races. Oh, here we go. According to what Master Farad Muhammad taught me on the origin of races, they number around 4, and from these 4 races of people. Okay, hold on. Okay, so let's get to the chase here. As a result of intermixing with such colors as black, brown, yellow, red, and white, this produced many other various colors. The origin of it, according to the teachings of Master Farad Muhammad to me, was from a scientist or god. We see him as a god. Back 6,000 years ago, a master grafting work on the human being started to produce a new civilization or new race of people from the original race of people or aboriginal people. This man, Yakub, discovered in the germ of the black man that he had 2 people in. Okay, once again, we're kind of repeating ourselves here. Okay, they would be able to rule for around 6,000 years or until the father or the aboriginal people produce one superior to his man. He had taken, through experimental work on the germ of man, a people, what we call today a white race. But before he produced that white race, he produced a brown race. Then he produced a yellow race, and so on. Wow. Okay. Yowza. The thing is, another point too I want to bring up is, according to some of this is expanded into, okay, this is something that, the Wignats use as well. So I'm going to try to tread carefully here. But the Khoisan, you'll notice that the Khoisan people look a lot different, or a little bit more light-skinned than the only people that bring up the NOI and the MSM are Zionists at Fox. Yeah, getting people to disavow antis. Yeah, that's true. I was going to say that basically the Khoisan people that lived in South Africa, I know, Wignats always use them and say that the Khoisan were nice to the Dutch, and maybe, I know, but I'm just saying is that in general, the Khoisan are seen as those original brown people. That's how some pro-blacks do see it. I just want to point that out as well. There are some people that say, oh yeah, the Khoisan were the original, they were the original results of the experiments that Yakub did. So I'm just saying, put that where it is. I'm just saying that's kind of, some people say that. I'm just saying. Okay. As far as I know. Okay. He had taken through experimental work of the germ of man, a people of what we call today a white race. Produce a brown race, he produced a yellow race, and so on. There lies his first grafting of the black man, according to the teachings of Master Farad Muhammad, whom we see and know today as being God in person. From the grafting in its first stage, he, Yakub, had a brown race of people from a black people, and it taken him, according to the teachings of God, 200 years to produce that brown race. And he kept up the process of killing off the brown or the darker one and marrying the lighter one, or the lighter one with the lighter one. In another 200 years, he had a yellow race of people. Yowza. In this length of time, these brown people were spreading and migrating over the earth to find them a home to themselves. And so, when the yellow race was produced, they too started migrating over the earth. And from the yellow race, he said Muhammad was God incarnate. Yeah, this is similar to what people talk about in UFO circles. I imagine so. Yeah, this is wild. This is wild. Like I say, this is as close as I can. This isn't from officially the Nation of Islam, because I don't think the Nation of Islam is going to produce stuff like this. But yeah. This is from another guy. This is from this guy, Sectarius, compiled and edited by Nasir Makar Hakim, minister of Elijah Muhammad. Basically was produced. Okay, so yeah. Sectarius Mimps Publications and Phoenix, Arizona. So there you go. Yeah. But yeah, this is very much, haram to a lot of Muslims. Now, once again, it should be noted, of course, that the Nation of Islam did have another split. When Malcolm X left, Malcolm X fully converted to Sunni Islam. He fully converted to Sunni Islam after he left in 1964 and created the MMI. I'm trying to think what that stands for. Muslim Mosque Incorporated. Yeah. So he created the Muslim Mosque Incorporated, which is actually what used to be Mosque number 7, which is in Harlem. It's in Harlem, New York. The Harlem Pimp, baby. But yeah. So, like I say, this is, I'm saying that this is some deep stuff, man. Like I say, this is as close as I can find to the original ideas. This is mind blowing for me. I've heard little bits of this, but now I'm really trying to make sense of it, because I used to follow people like, of course, Tariq Nasheed, hearing him saying, all that buck dancing and whatnot, and all the, the Negro bed wenches, he was good. He was good for those little lines. And of course, there are people like, of course, Tommy Sotomayor. Tommy Sotomayor, he's probably still around, but I remember that he debated this guy. I'm trying to think of it, Young Pharaoh Allah. And Young Pharaoh Allah, I think, has changed his mind a little bit. He had a video that he put out where he says white people aren't human, this and that. I was like, oh man. And people had all these reaction channels. Oh my goodness, they had a ball with that. I don't even know. Like I say, that video is probably gone. Everything else, because I typed it in, I was like, oh man, I want to find this video just to show y'all. But I was like, man, it's not. Okay, this is wild stuff though. Yeah. From the grafting in its first stage, yeah, he had the yellow race of people. Oh my goodness. In this length of time, these brown people were spreading and migrating over the earth to find a home for themselves. And so when the yellow race was produced, they too started migrating over the earth. And from the yellow race, about 200 years, this grafting kept in process. They were on the same island. According to a lot of what people say, it comes from Patmos Island. Patmos Island is one of those Greek islands. Greek islands are really fucked up, aren't they? Because you got Lesbos, that comes from lesbian, That's where lesbian comes from, is Lesbos. And then you had the island of Patmos, which is where white folks were created. I mean, it's wild, wild, wild stuff, man. Okay. Like I say, they were on the same island according to the teachings of Almighty God. They were taught to me by Allah, God, who came in the person of Master Farad Muhammad, to whom praises is due forever. During that 200 years of keeping up birth control laws, this is what he established. He established it on this island in his lab where he was working. We call it a human lab to produce his man. And from this yellow race, he had a white race 200 years later from them. And this was the end of his work. This was the man he was trying to get to, a white race. Woo! That concluded the total time of his grafting, the whiteout of black in 600 years. And this figure tallies with the Bible's teaching of the man being created in 6 days. The days here mean 100 years each. 600 years. I'm sorry. Sorry. Where do you come up? This is some. Jay Taylor and that was hilarious because of course I'm trying to think of it. What's his name was the moderator. I cannot think of it now. Baked Alaska. Baked Alaska was it. No, Lesbos means forested lesbians. Is not a reference to the island. But the most famous resident of that Greek island, Sappho, one of the most celebrated Greco-Roman writers who was gay. Oh, fair enough. All right. Yeah. Okay. Well, all right. I'll take that lesson. I'm not going to sit here and be too passive-aggressive. Fair enough, though. All right. It was just, Sappho, Sapphic and all that. Okay. All right. Did they explain how he lived this long? I have no idea. Like I said, this is what happens when we take away people's culture. They make up some weird stuff. Yeah, exactly. And so Mr. Yakub, the mighty scientist of that time, produced his man on 6 because it tallied with the creation of the universe, and it was according to this number that he could do his work. They would be masters, gods to rule the earth, the people and everything of life for 6,000 years. At the end of 6,000 years, the Aboriginal people will have produced another one mightier than Yakub in wisdom and knowledge. He would be equal with that one that created the heavens and the earth. He would have the power and the infinite wisdom to make his word be as the first one. This is the man we have before us today, to whom praise is due, according to the way that Almighty God taught me, in the person of Master Farad Muhammad, that in grafting anything, even fruit or the life of animals like the birds or fowl, all of these things can be grafted to make another self out of them. So you have just gotten this. You have made many things from the Aboriginal, and today we see much of your world that you have produced through grafting, and you are a master at that. I must say you're a master at grafting because the father, Mr. Yakub, was a master. Is it true that Malcolm X played a part in the SS? Yeah. This is wild stuff. I mean, that's all I can say. Okay. According to what I've been taught of God, as you know, that I don't know anything, and I didn't know anything, because this mastermind came to me, or the wise man who I teaches. I'm dead serious. This is what it says. Who I teaches to be God in person. Oh Lord have mercy. Okay. Inshallah. Oh my goodness. What are you doing? Okay. I swear to you, that's what it says. I'm not trying to be prejudiced or racist. I'm serious. Okay. I believe I'm right according to the scripture. And I know I'm right according to what he has said, and how it corresponds with the prophetic sayings of the prophets concerning him, or one coming this time. In grafting, let's get back to the answer to answer that question. In grafting a life from a life that is original, that which we graft from the original, regardless to what life it is weaker than that which it was grafted from. We are reducing the power of that original when we graft from it. When we graft fruit, the fruit that we graft is not the original to that which we graft it out of. And so it is when it comes to life, whether it's birds, whether it's beasts, it's a beast, animals, or a man. In cats, such as the cat family, all the grafted of its family is lesser in power than the original line, and that which is grafted from the original line is not to be trusted too much, as with leopards and the other cats from the lion family. These cats from the lion family are more dangerous and cannot be trusted like we can this original line. Whew. I need a breather. That's a little okay. Whew. Wow. Zoology BTFO. Zoology BTFO. I mean, all the science. I mean, look, I'm not much of a scientist at all. I mean, once again, I've said it before, I'll say it again. I'm getting my degree in marketing, but woo. I mean, that was okay. Let's go ahead. Let's continue on here. The original line, we can take him, make him lie around us, even at an old age, and we can still trust him. But we can't trust this leopard and these other cats because they have, by nature, something evilly wicked that came through the grafting. He comes upon us while we're not looking at him, and before we know it, he'll destroy us. So we don't trust him, but we will trust the original line. Get them when he's a little cub, and we can bring him up like he's any other house cat, walk around and play with him till he's an old man. So it is with the human being. Okay. Oof. I mean, I'll be honest with you. I'll be dead honest with you. When I just read that bit, I thought of the two German guys who raised the tigers. What were their? Oh my goodness! Unironic narcissists have a better grasp. I mean, this is okay. This is wild stuff. I'm trying to think. I'm really trying to think of it. Germans with tigers. I cannot think of the name. Germans with tigers. Animal. Okay, with tigers with animal. I cannot think of the name of it. Oh my goodness, I cannot think of it. Okay. CIRCUS Brothers Tiger. Okay. Ringling Brothers. Oh my goodness. Okay. God, why can't I cannot think of their names. I'm sorry. I can't. Yeah. Sigmund and okay. Yeah. Sigmund and Roy. Yep. Yeah. I think it's Sigmund and Roy. But yeah. And of course, this is like, well, we've raised these tigers since they were babies, and so they are nice to us, and yet they, it's like one of them got attacked. I was like, oh, I mean, this is literally like Hermann Goering raising a lion cub, and that lion cub pissing all over Hermann Goering and him getting mad at it. I mean, that's for real. That's for real, at least as far as I know. Hermann Goering had a lion cub that he had as a pet. I mean, this is nuts. I'm okay. I'm sorry. I can't be a big enough. I can't. Yeah, Siegfried and Roy. That's it. Siegfried and Roy. Yeah, I knew it was something like that. Golly, my mind is gone. Okay. And I guess it's just my inferior genes at this point. Yakub didn't invent me well enough. That's okay. All right. Any live germ grafted from the original is devil. Satan, on the other hand, has a wider spread, we would say, than the devil. Okay. We can see a devil cat out there, a devil animal, or a devil person. We could call most any grafted thing a devil, you see. But anything, when we say Satan, we mean a man or a people whose wickedness is not confined to themselves. It spreads and others are affected by their wickedness. Now we can take this question up from what we just said, what we said here in the grafting, and through the grafting of this people, they are being separated all the while. The brown was separated from the yellow, and the yellow separated from the white. So separation was the answer to the whole process of the creation and the whole universe. Everything is separated. Okay, kind of base. Okay, I'm sorry. That's kind of, that may be kind of cringe to some people, but yeah. This is kind of crazy. All right, so separation was the answer to the whole process of the creation and the whole universe. Everything is separated. There's nothing put in the sphere of another one. Everything is independent within its own sphere. So since the white man brought us out of our original land and people, and has kept us here without taking us back, or without the knowledge of how to get back, for the past 400 years, this knowledge God has been brought to us. And the answer is now only separation. We must go back to our own. Okay. My uncle mentioned this, which got me thinking. Story time. I do mountain climbing and love stats. Anyway, he pointed out pictures of human neurology and stars, and so similar, like, yep, OMG. Oh, okay. But, okay, let's continue on here. The whites came from Europe. You probably will have returned, you will have to return to your home in order to fill that which is written of the scripture by the prophets who put it in there. I think I read this somewhere in the Bible, where it says, at the time, every man will go to his own people and country, meaning at the end of the rule of the white people, who will then separate themselves, and every man will go like they did in the beginning. At the beginning, they were separated. The black went to itself, the brown went to itself, yellow went to itself, when white went to itself. Okay, that's okay. Once again, I'm going to go ahead and dog-ear that. That is pretty... Woo! I mean, you know what? That's kind of, you know what? I'll be honest with you. That's kind of, yeah. That's kind of based, bro. That's kind of based. I can't lie. Okay. Not going to lie. NGL, baby. Okay. The color or the races are people, and Islam is religion. When we say the people of Islam, we mean of that religion or that duty to God. And when we refer to the color of the various people of earth, we are referring to races and nations as they're called, such as brown, yellow, red colors. They're all from the same source or the same father, the black man. He has that in him. The white color, it's a color, according to the teachings of the Master Farad Muhammad, to whom praise is due, God in person, we call white the fifth color from the black, and the final color of black. It's not any more part of the other four. It's completely itself. It's independent, now to itself. Its root is from the first, the black. But it has now been taken completely from that, and within itself, it's independent. Okay. Yes. Sorry. All right. Let's continue on, folks. We're going to do one little bit, and then I think we'll end it there. But yeah, is there enough room for all of us on Patmos? Well, he said Europe. They said Europe. So I guess, you know, I guess I can go back to Wales. I mean, I'm pretty sure I'm part Welsh. I mean, I can go back there and, you know, try to make my bit in the UK, I guess. I don't know. But yeah, north of Sweden. Yeah, who come from North Sweden. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like I say, it's crazy. This new idea put Yakub to work, finding the necessary converts to begin grafting his new race of people. He began teaching Islam, with promises of luxury to those who would believe and follow him. As Mr. Yakub continued to preach for converts, he told his people that he would make the others work for them. This promise came to pass. Naturally, there are always some people around who would like to have others do their work. There are the ones... So now we're getting kind of like Marxist somewhat, okay. Getting into the bourgeoisie and the proletariat kind of thing. Okay, anyway. That's my reading anyway. Those are the ones who feel for Mr. Yakub's teaching 100%. As he made converts in and around the holy city of Mecca, persecution set in. The authorities became afraid of such powerful teaching with promises of luxury and making slaves of others. As they began making arrests of those who believed the teaching, the officers would go back and find, to their surprise, others still teaching and believing it. Finally, they arrested Mr. Yakub, but it only increased the teachings. They kept persecuting and arresting Yakub's followers until they filled all the jails. The officers finally reported to the king that there was no room to put a prisoner in, if arrested. All the jails are filled, and when we go out into the streets, we find them still teaching. What shall we do with them?" The king questioned the officers on just what the teachings were and the name of the leader. The officers gave the king the answers to everything. The king said, "Okay, yes,
I thought of it.
uh-huh."
Where's the inspiration?
Okay, let's continue on, people. All right. On entering the prison, the king was shown Yakub's cell. "Wa alukum," the king said. The king said, "So you are Mr. Yakub?" He said, "Yes, I am." The king said, "Yakub, I have come to see if we could work out on some agreement that would bring about an end to this trouble. What would you suggest?" Mr. Yakub told the king, "If you give me and my followers everything to start civilization as you have, and furnish us with money and other necessities of life for 20 years, I will take my followers and we will go from you." The king was pleased with the suggestion on condition made by Yakub and agreed to take care of them for 20 years until Yakub's followers were able to go for themselves. After learning who Mr. Yakub was, they all were afraid of him and were glad to make almost any agreement with him and his followers. This history or future of Mr. Yakub and his people was in the nation's book by the writers 23 scientists of our history, 8,400 years before his birth. So the government began to make preparation for the exiling of Mr. Yakub and his followers. The king ordered everyone rounded up who was a believer in Mr. Yakub. They took them to the seaport and loaded them on ships. After rounding them all up into ships, they numbered 59,999. Yakub made 60,000. Their ship sailed out to an isle in the Aegean Sea called Palan, Bible Patmos. Well, the mayor must be drawn in coordinate or do go off surname. Yeah. Islam communism, not based Islamic national communism. Yeah, this is some wild stuff. Yeah, the thing you read in like the devil face palm. Yeah, exactly. It's crazy. Yeah, so like I said, it was Patmos. Yeah, to an island in the Aegean Sea called Palan, Bible Patmos. After they were loaded into the ships, Mr. Yakub examined each of them to see if they were 100% with him, and to see if they were all healthy and productive people. If not, he would throw them off. Some were found to be unfit and overboard. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Oh my goodness. How do you combine Islam, property rights, and communism? This is, yeah, this is. Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I'm really not trying. This is just so wild. How can you believe? Oh my goodness. I mean, look, you can hate white people. Don't get me wrong. Go ahead and hate honkies, but Lord have mercy. This is the most. Oh, okay. Let's go ahead and continue. I'm sorry. When they arrived at the isle, Mr. Yakub said to them, "See how they, the holy people, have cast us out. Now, if you go, will choose me to be your king. I will teach you how to go back and rule them all." Of course, they had already chosen Yakub to be their king at the very start. So, Yakub chose doctors, ministers, nurses, and a cremator for his top laborers. He called these laborers together, who told them his plan for making a new people who would rule for 6,000 years. He called the doctor first and said, "Doctor, let all the people who come to you, who want to marry, and if they come to you, 2 real black ones, take a needle and get a little of their blood and go into your room and pretend to be examining it to see whether their blood would mix. Then come and tell them that they will each have to find another mate because their blood does not mix." It was the aim of Yakub to get rid of the black, and he did. Give them a certificate to take to the minister, warning the minister against marrying the couple because their blood is. This sounds like some straight up Hitler stuff. I mean, this is like, you can't marry unless you are 100% Aryan. I mean, this is okay. This stuff around flat Earth theorists and spirit science. This is why Nation of Islam does not really. Yeah, there is such a thing as Gay Christian marriage. Okay. Well, like I say, I mean, this is okay. This is why Nation of Islam really doesn't talk about Yakub as much. It's still taught, I'm sure, but to a much different degree. They keep this, I imagine they keep this on the low. On the low, because this is, I mean, if this ever came, this is, oh my goodness. I mean, okay. I'm trying not to, Okay. Mr. Yakub's charge to his laborers was very strict. Death if one disobeyed. They did not know what Yakub had in mind until they were given their labor to do. He made his laborers, from the chief to the least, liars. The doctor lied about the blood of the two black people who wanted to marry. That did not mix. The brown and black could not be married. Brown only. The doctors of today hold the same position over the people. You go to them to get a blood test to see if you are fit to be married. This is, I mean, like I say, the thing is that there are some nuggets of truth, because I know that they will use the Tuskegee experiment as an example of what will happen using that, and unfortunately, testing, I think it was syphilis on black folks. So of course, I mean, look, there is elements of truth in this. Once again, I'm trying to be fair here. I'm trying to be fair and say, that there's some stuff in there that, anyway, okay. Today they say it is done if there are any contagious germs in the blood. I wish that they would enforce such a law today. Keep the white from mixing with the black. Just the opposite. Perhaps we could remain black and not be disgraced by a mixture of all colors. Oh, wow. Okay, let me go ahead. I'm going to go ahead and dog ear that page too. Yowza. Okay. In the days of Yakub's grafting of the present white race, a new and unalike race among the black nation for 600 years, his law was that they should not allow the birth of a black baby in their family, but the white devil should mix their blood with the black nation in order to help destroy black. But they should not allow the black to mix with their blood. His aim was to kill and destroy the black nation. He ordered the nurses to kill all black babies that were born among his people by pricking the... Okay, you know what? I'm going to skip some of this. It's a little too rough. Okay. If the mother is alert, watching the nurse, then the nurse would lie and fool the mother to get possession of the child. Oh, boy. Okay. Ooh, okay. This is getting a little rough. Okay. Okay. Mr. Yakub warned the laborers from the doctor down to the cremator that if any one of them failed to carry out his orders, off go their heads. Okay, so... Okay. Even I have to say, a little rough. I'm skipping a lot here because it's getting a little... Oh, Lord have mercy. Okay. Oh, boy. Okay, we got... Okay, here we go. This race you call the Japanese people, that's the brown race, okay? The next is the yellow race. Now from yellow, the other race that you see here is white. This number 1 here. I shouldn't have balled it up. They were so close to that, but I was saying the brown race was the first to come out from grafting. The first man here was black. Then, when he started grafting out of him to get white, he was grafting for 200 years. For 200 years, it took that length of time to get the brown baby out of... Okay, once again, kind of repeating ourselves again. Okay, all through grafting, this was done. And every time he'd graft one, it was weaker than the other. The brown baby was weaker than his father. The black man, the brown baby, was stronger than the yellow baby. And the yellow baby who produced the white baby, was a little stronger than the white, based on the nearness back to the father of all the races, black man. The little yellow baby became kind of evil and wicked, like the next brother, white. This is the Chinese that I'm talking about. The Chinaman is near equal with white folks. He loves to fight because he's braver than whites, because he's back more closer to the father than the white. The father of race is the black man. And these go and mix with many. And by mixing color, and by mixing with many, They produce many different colors, thus many different races. So I want you, my beloved readers, to remember that the white man didn't come from the same God that you came from. Yep. I mean, you have to study these things to understand the belief. I mean, that's my view of it, Mantis. I mean, you have to understand this to really, if you want to understand how things the way they are, a lot of this, admittedly, probably comes from, it comes from Farad Muhammad. Like I say, some people call him Wally Ford. I'm not going to, I mean, that's kind of, I'm trying to be respectful here, but, Farad Muhammad came up with a lot of this. I'm sure that he did some research into genetics and everything else, and I'm sure Elijah Muhammad learned some of this as well. So I'd rather watch anime because anime is practice. Yeah, this colors. Yeah, they act like the color spectrum works like paint. Yeah, exactly. Okay. After the first 200 years, Mr. Yakub had done away with the. Okay, Of course, Mr. Yakub lived but 150 years, but his ideas continued in practice. He gave his people guidance in the form of literature, what they should know, what they should do, and how to do it. How to rule the black nation. He said to them, when you become unlike white, you may return to the Holy Land and people from whom you were exiled. The Yakub made devils were really pale white, with really blue eyes, which we think is the ugliest of colors for a human eye. They were called Caucasian, which means, according to some of the Arab scholars, one whose evil effect is not confined to oneself alone, but affects others. There was no good taught to them while on the island. By teaching the nurses to... Okay, I'm being careful here. Okay. The black nation is only fooling themselves to take the Caucasian race otherwise. This is what Jesus learned to their history before he gave up his work of trying to convert the Jews or white race to the religion of Islam. Okay. Oof. I don't know how you got there, but okay. And the same knowledge of them was given to Muhammad by the imams or scientists of Mecca. This is why the war of the Muslims against them came to a stop. Muhammad was told that he could not reform the devils, and that the race had 1,400 more years to live. The only way to make righteous people, Muslims, out of them was to graft them black into the black nation. This grieved Muhammad so much that it caused him heart trouble until his death, age 62 and 1/2 years. The old scientists used to laugh at Muhammad for thinking that he could convert them, the devils, to Islam. This hurt his heart. Mr. Yakub taught his maid devils on Palan that, when you go back to the holy black nation, rent a room in their homes, teach your wives to go out the next morning around the neighbors of the people and tell that you heard her talking about them last night. When you have gotten them to fighting and killing each other, then ask them to let you help settle their disputes and restore peace among them. If they agree, then you will be able to rule them both. This method the white race practices on the black nation the world over. They upset their peace by putting one against the other and then rule them after dividing them. This is the reason why the American so-called N-word can never agree on unity among themselves, which would put them on top overnight. The devils keep them divided by paid informers from among themselves. They keep such fools among us, but the real truth of the devils sometimes converts the informers and brings them over to us as true believers. We don't bother about killing them, as I am not teaching that which I want to be kept as a secret, but that which the world has not known and should know. After Yakub's devils were among the holy people of Islam, the black nation, for 6 months, they had our people at war with each other. The holy people were unable to understand just why they could not get along in peace with each other until they took the matter to the king. The king told the holy people of the black nation that the trouble they were having was caused by the white devils in their midst, and that there would be no peace among them until they drove these white-made devils from them. The holy people prepared to drive the devils out from among them. The king said, "Gather every one of the devils up and strip them of our costume. Put an apron on them to hide their nakedness. Take all literature from them and take them by way of the desert. Send a caravan armed with rifles to keep the devils going westward. Don't allow one of them to turn back. And if they are lucky enough to go west across the Arabian desert, let them go into the hills of West Asia that they now call Europe. The government cracked down on Malcolm X and the people who followed him out of the Nation of Islam. The government didn't crack down on NOI because they didn't organize a revolution. Malcolm X, was still a Sunni Muslim. And I don't know how apparently they had rifles, yeah. And the thing is, once again, I just want to point this out for Skeptical Mantis. Malcolm X converted to Sunni Islam after he left the Nation of Islam, which a lot of people consider haram, and that it's not really Islam. He created the Muslim Mosque Incorporated. He was able to send some students to Islamic universities in Egypt as well as Saudi Arabia. He sent them to Medina University and Al-Azhar University in Egypt. So let's be careful about the idea. Once again, this is kind of the misnomer that goes on. The thing is that Malcolm X wanted support. Just because he left the Nation of Islam, he still supported black folks. Let's be fair now. I'm trying to be honest. And you can look up the history of it. There's a lot of people who will say, oh yeah, well, Malcolm X was a socialist. Malcolm X was a Muslim. And as Lenin said, we are dialectical materialists. We're positively against religion. So we have to be careful about that. And I know Lenin said other things about religion as well, saying if we only went back to a primitive Christianity and everything else. But I'm just saying, we have to be careful about what is taught and how people are seen. I try to take things as they are. I try not to do that. Yeah, just imagine how Malcolm X was the head of the OAAU, a secular black nationalist organization. You have to be careful with that. Yes, he was. He was part of the Organization of Afro-American Unity, yes. But the gentleman who helped write that was a gentleman by the name of, I'm trying to think of his name now. Organization. I'm sorry. Let me look it up right quick. The Organization of Afro-American Unity. Okay. Dr. Clark. That's who it is. I know. Okay. I just thought about it the last minute, but yeah, it comes from, Malcolm X along with Dr. John Henrik Clark. And for those that know, Dr. John Henrik Clark was very much a strong black nationalist. Okay, let me read some things about Dr. John Henrik Clark. But basically, he was very much a strong believer in, black nationalism and the idea that, black folks were overtaken by whites. So let's be careful about when we say, Organization of Afro-American Unity. Yes, that's true, but there are also other people that were involved. And I'll go ahead and read this off. This is straight from Wikipedia to make sure. Restoration. In order to release ourselves from the oppression of our enslavers, then it is absolutely necessary for the Afro-American to restore communication with Africa. 2. Reorientation. We can learn much about Africa by reading informative books and by listening to the experiences of those who have traveled there. 3. Education. The Organization of Afro-American Unity will devise original educational methods and procedures which will liberate the minds of our children. We will encourage qualified Afro-Americans to write and publish textbooks needed to liberate our minds, educating them, our children, at home. Economic security. After the Emancipation Proclamation, it was realized that the Afro-American constituted the largest homogeneous ethnic group with a common origin and a common group experience in the United States, and, if allowed to exercise the economic or political freedom, would in a short period of time own his country. We must establish a technician bank. We must do this so that the newly independent nations of Africa can turn to us, who are their brothers, for the technicians they will need now and in the future. 5. self-defense. In order to enslave a people and keep them subjugated, the right to self-defense must be denied. We encourage the Afro-Americans to defend themselves against the wanton attacks of the racist aggressors whose sole aim is to deny us the guarantee of the United Nations Charter of Human Rights and the Constitution of the United States. The OAAU pushed for black control of every aspect of the black community, rent strikes, everything else. But once again, if John Brown were still alive, we might accept him. But yeah, so take that for what it is. Yeah, take that for what it is. He was also the head of Sunni Muslim mosques, as you said, after he left the NOI. Yeah, so once again, I mean, yeah, not all socialists are Leninists. So yeah, but we have to be, once again, I mean, I don't really get this whole idea of, Malcolm X was this and that. Yeah, but the thing is that Malcolm X originally came to, as black folks like to say, came to the truth, the knowledge of self. He came through knowledge of self through Elijah Muhammad. You have to say that, is that he started his journey. Of course, he was a bank robber in Boston and everything else, but that's a whole other thing. While his mother was involved with Marcus Garvey and was involved with the with UNIA. So there's a deeper history there. And I think that it's very limiting when people try to take Malcolm X as, he was a socialist. He was one of us. No, he wasn't. Yeah, you are correct to point out that Malcolm was not a socialist. Oftentimes, socialists try to appropriate the legacy of Malcolm X. Okay, fair enough. Fair enough, then. Sometimes I get a little defensive and I spurg out a little bit. So apologies. That's something I need to work on. Yeah, CIA plant. Okay. Okay, so crossing the burning sand. Yakub's maid devils were driven out of Palestine. Both Malcolm X's parents were Garveyites. Malcolm's father was killed by the KKK for being a Garveyite. Yes, that's true. That is true. Once there, they were roped in. Okay, I'm sorry. I don't want to skip too much here. Okay, were driven out of Yakub's maid devils were driven out of paradise into the hills of West Asia or Europe and stripped of everything but the language. They walked across that hot, sandy desert into the land where long years of both trouble and joy awaited them. But they finally made it. Not all. Many died in the desert. Once there, they were roped in to keep them out of paradise, to make sure the Muslims who lived along the borders of East and West Asia were ordered to patrol the border to keep Yakub's devils in West Asia, now called Europe, so that the original nation of the black man, could live in peace, and the devils could be alone to themselves to do as they pleased, as long as they didn't try crossing the east border. The soldiers patrolled the border armed with swords to prevent the devils from crossing. This went on for 2,000 years. After that time, Moses, was born, the man whom Allah would send to these exiled devils to bring them again into the light of civilization. All right, sorry. Okay, let's go ahead and try to. Allah would send these, again into the light of civilization. Before we take up this first 2,000 years of the devils exiled on our planet, let us not lose sight of what and how they were made, and of the God who made them, Mr. Yakub. Since we have learned that Mr. Yakub was an original man, black, the ignorant of our people may say, if Yakub was a black man and the father of the devils, then he was a devil. That is like one saying the horse is as much a mule as the mule, or that an orange or lemon is as much grapefruit as the grapefruit, because the grapefruit is grafted from the orange and lemon. They are not alike because the grafted is no longer original. Just what have we learned, or rather are learning, from this divine revelation of our enemies, the devils? Answer: we are learning the truth which has been kept a secret for 6,000 years concerning the white race, who have deceived us. We learn what is meant by the Bible's symbolic teachings, that they were made from dust. This only tends to convey the idea that they were created from nothing, which means the low and humble origin of such creation. Again, we learn who the Bible, Genesis 1:16, is referring to in the saying, "Let us make man," This U.S. was 59,999 black men and women, making or grafting them into the likeness or image of the original man. Now that they are the same, that have the ways of a human, but they are referred to as mankind, not the real original man, being made like the original in the sense of human beings. The Holy Quran throws a great light on the truth of the creation of this pale white race of devils. O mankind, surely we have created you from a male and a female. Chapter 49, verse 15. This makes it very easy to understand to whom it is referring. What mankind? Surely we created man from... we're gonna skip some of that. Okay. Yakub's race of devils were exiled in the hills and caves of West Asia, now called Europe. They were without anything to start civilization and became savages. They retained in much condition for 2,000 years no guide or literature. They lost all knowledge of civilization. The Lord, God of Islam, taught me that some of them tried to graft themselves back into the black nation, but they had nothing to go by. And few were lucky enough to make a start, and got as far as what you call the gorilla. In fact, all of the monkey family are from this 2,000-year history of the white race in Europe. So I am monkey. I dropped out for a minute. Did I miss anything important? Basically, we were talking a little bit about... So basically, Yakub's race of devils were pushed back to Asia. They didn't have any knowledge or anything else like that. And basically, white folks am monkey, basically. I am monkey, as the meme goes now today. So, yeah. In fact, all of the monkey family are from this 2,000-year history of the white race in Europe. Wow. Okay. Being deprived of our divine guidance for their disobedience, the making of mischief, and causing bloodshed in the holy nation of the original black people by lies, they became so savage that they lost all their sense of shame. They started going nude as they are doing today, and leading the so-called N-words into the very acts. They became shameless. In the winter, they wore animal skins for clothes and grew hair all over their bodies and faces like all the other wild animals. In those days, they made their homes in the caves on hillsides. There's a whole chapter devoted to them in the Holy Quran. They had it very hard, trying to save themselves from being destroyed by wild beasts, which were plentiful at that time in Europe. Being without a guide, they started walking on their hands and feet like all animals did, and learned to climb trees as well as any of the animals. At night, they would climb up into the trees, carrying large stones and clubs to fight the wild beasts that would come prowling around at night, to keep them from eating their families. Their next and best weapons were the dogs. They tamed some of these dogs to live in the caves with their families to help protect them from the wild beasts. After a time, for the dog held a high place among the family because of this fearlessness to attack the enemies of his master. Today, the dog is still loved by the white race and is given more justice than the so-called N-words, and is called the white man's best friend. This comes from the cave days. So there we go. Yep. Love monkey. Exactly. This is some wild stuff, man. This is absolutely wild. I mean, yeah. Yeah. I mean, this is, yeah. Now, once again, I have something that does pop into my head now that they mention dogs, is that I have heard from now this is expanded a bit more to say that white people were created from dog DNA, cat DNA, and rat DNA. And this is how white folks have straight hair versus others. Yeah, is it true that... Yeah, it is true that Farrakhan did play a part in the assassination. Yeah, that is true. Well, you know what? I'll probably stick with Skepto Man. It's possibly. We'll go ahead and say that. But yeah, once again, this is the whole difference, is that apparently white folks have straight hair because... Yeah, that's why we smell like wet dogs. Exactly. I've heard that same... I've heard a lot of that as well. It used to make me upset. Now I just say, okay, whatever. All right. Oh, I'm sorry. I had to do it. It doesn't bother me as much anymore. Go ahead. I'm sorry if this is getting annoying. I'm just curious. That's fine. That's fine. Okay. In those days, they made their homes in the caves on hillsides. Sorry. But without a guide, they started walking their hands. Oh, sorry, skip that. Okay. Their next best. Sorry. Ooh, I need to skip down further. And the serpent was lifted up. After 2,000 years of living as a savage, Allah raised up Moses, to bring the white race again into civilization to take their place as rulers, as Yakub has intended for them. Moses, became their God and leader. He brought them out of the caves, taught them to believe in Allah, taught them to wear clothes, how to cook their food, how to season it with salt, what beef they should kill and eat, and how to use fire for their service. Moses taught them against putting the female cow under burden. I think I know what that means, but yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, couldn't care less. Yeah, exactly. He established for them Friday as a day to eat fish and not to eat beef on that day. This is some old Catholic stuff now. We're getting into the... Okay. They were so evil, savage, that Moses had to build a ring of fire around him at night. And he would sleep in the center of the ring to keep the devils from harming him. They were afraid of fire and are still afraid of fire. Allah said that one day Moses told them he was going to have fish tomorrow come up from the sea, so that tomorrow we will have some fish. On the next day, the fish were there. Moses had a boatload sent up from Egypt. Moses said, "See, the sea came up last night and brought us some fish." One of the savages was a little smart, and he said to Moses, "Where is the water?" From then on, Moses recognized the fact that he could not say just anything to them. He had a hard time trying to civilize them. Once they gave Moses so much trouble that he took a few sticks of dynamite. Egyptians are beautiful, by the way. Copts, white, blue eyes, Orthodox Christian, but Arabs have surname. Yeah, that's true. Yep. He took a few sticks of dynamite, went up on the mountainside, placed them into the group, and went back to get those who were giving him the most trouble. Moses was... Okay, I can't. Okay, let's just continue. Placed them into groups and went back to get those who were giving him the most trouble. He said to them, "Stand there on the edge of this mountain, and you will hear the voice of God." They stood there, about 300 in number. Moses set the fuse off and killed all of them. The imams got after Moses for performing this trick on the devils. Moses said to the imams, if you only knew how much trouble these devils give me, you would do as I do." Moses taught the devils that if they would follow him and obey him, Allah would give them a place among the holy people. Most of them believed Moses just to get out of the caves. The imams recognized the tremendous job Moses, had trying to civilize the savages. These enemies of the righteous black nation of earth now had to take the place as the rulers and conquerors of earth. The devils were given the knowledge and power to bring every living thing, regardless of its kind of life, into subjection. Whew. This is okay. I heard about the dynamite stuff, but now I'm like, okay, you know what? You know what? Let me see here. Let us make man into our image. You know what? This is a lot. This is a lot to take in, isn't it? This is some heavy, heavy stuff. And this is just, okay, most of this is just, okay, white people bad. Yeah, and all the bad stuff that we did. Okay. Mr. Yakub taught his people, Yakub, the great deceiver. Okay, you know what? Let's just go ahead and skip this to the end. You will know them by their work. Funny thing is, ignorance, blacks claiming Egyptian legacy are 3D, third in line, as Arabs are still waiting on cops to die out. Yeah. Prince of Darkness, the word of... Okay, let's just skip. I'm going to skip to the end here. We're going to skip to the end of this. The coming of the Son of Man. The black man, or gods of the black man, are infinitely wise. They are being aroused to their wisdom today to rule the people again throughout the ages of time. The present gods, Master Fard Muhammad's wisdom is infinite. No scientist can see an end to this man's wisdom coming in the future. That is why the Bible and the Holy Quran refer to him as the greatest and wisest of them all. And he said that he will set up a kingdom, civilization that will last forever. that will live forever. Excuse me. That's exactly why I said that this Israel, or the scholars of Israel, have this in their prophecy of the coming of a last man and the nature in which he must come. This man that must come and must go after that which is lost. He must be a prepared man in order to fit the job well. He must be prepared. He must be part of both peoples. This subject of the prepared one can be taken up in the book The True History of Farad Muhammad. And that's the end of the book. Like I say, I skipped like quite a bit of it because just basically just crack is bad, basically. But yeah, is all this meant to be a direct revelation from Allah to the author? Where is this all coming from? Okay, here's as far as I know of what this comes from. The thing is that so Elijah Muhammad learned this from Farad Muhammad. Farad Muhammad used to be part of the Moors, as I said. It was written by Elijah, yeah, Farad, which equals Allah. Yeah, exactly. Yep, there you go, Temujin. That is correct. This was a wonderful roller coaster. It really was. It really was. It's important to understand because, like I say, the Nation of Islam, I've heard them mention in some of their speeches, ironically, one of the illegitimate sons of Elijah Muhammad is now the next in line after the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan to take over. Ishmael Muhammad. He is in line to take over. You know what? I'll go ahead and show a clip of Ishmael Muhammad. He doesn't have the same fire as Louis Farrakhan, but obviously Louis Farrakhan has had a lot of practice. Ishmael Muhammad. There we go. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and show a clip of him. YouTube, Facebook, Satan's Rage. Okay. Okay. Let me skip a little bit here and I'll go ahead and show the screen here in a moment. I'll do Ishmael Muhammad. There we go. Okay. Interview with Mr. Ishmael Muhammad. This is a guy who is going to purportedly take over the Nation of Islam. I'll go ahead and show y'all this so quick. Yeah. Ishmael stale as fuck. He really is. He's very boring. But, you know, he doesn't have the same fire that he has. Yeah. But we'll go ahead and show y'all. Let me go ahead and take away this overlay. I'll just put it back on this overlay here. Okay, let's go ahead and I'm going to let y'all hear this right quick. Go ahead and let me know if y'all can hear it.
777 Construction.
We'll die with Farrakhan, but we'll love on in our hearts.
City?
Yeah.
I'm Kelsey Burris, and today we are honored to have a special guest with us.
He asked me to be his assistant minister now. Oh, wow, this is 2015, going on 24 years.
Wow.
And about 10 years ago, he promoted me to the title National Student Assistant Minister. And I just enjoy the pleasure of serving. Of course, I love him.
Mm-hmm.
I love my father, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad.
You can hear it? Okay, good deal.
I love this teaching, and I'm in love with my people, and I want to do something to help to improve the condition of our people. So it's just a great, great privilege.
Yes, sir. Now, can you tell us what brings you to Kansas City?
Well, I was invited by the mosque and the local organizing committee for the 20th anniversary of the Million Man March.
So there we go. I just wanted to show you a little bit of that. But the thing is, this is why I'm a little cautious. I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing the screen. But yeah, this is why I'm a little cautious of anyone that talks about racial purity. Because usually when you mix people, when you have those types of folks, the cringe comes out. Because the thing is, the same thing with Mike Enoch. Mike Enoch, of course, had a Jewish wife. You will find people like Augustus, what's his name? The guy who was just released from jail. This guy, he has a Filipino wife and mixed kids. What sort, this is why I don't like to get into that. And I try not to. But this is, yeah. it's just so it's very cringe, isn't it? Yeah. Ferris kind of light skin too. NOI promotes misinformation about Malcolm X. They twist the story. Yep. So the rank and file nation won't realize that NOI was better with him. Yeah, that's true. But like I say, this is why you have to be a little bit cautious when people bring up, the purity of race, this and that, because usually when those types of people who say those types of things, usually they're pretty cringe themselves. Yeah. I remember hearing a story about Enoch being mocked for being half Serbian. Yeah. Like I say, so this is why I'm a little cautious when we talk about race, this and that. And it's just, and don't get me wrong, I have my problems. Don't get me wrong, I do. But I'm just, it always comes out, doesn't it, that these folks that really talk about the purity of race or this and that, those folks will always they will always have some sort of skeletons in their closet. It's like thou dost protest too much, as Shakespeare said, right? The CIA took out X because he went from F Whitey to F. Yeah, that's part of it too. That's part of it too. And also he became a legitimate Sunni Muslim, but that's a whole other thing. So like I say, you can take what I say with a grain of salt. And you can, I'm glad to have a bit of a verbal tussle. I'm fine with that. But, I'm going to try to be careful about what I put out and everything else like that. And like I say, there's a lot of rough bits. I was just like, oh, I'm not going to read that. So, but still, I think it's good information to get, because this is kind of the beginning, at least in my view, of the foundation of a lot of what the Nation of Islam came up with. So I think that's important to say. And I think with that, I think I'll end it there. But yeah, all these race purists secretly want foreign wives. They really do. They really do. You'll always find these super based, patriots and whatnot. And they'll always have the Asian waifu, or they'll have, the Filipino wife. It's just cringe, yeah. I'm almost looking forward to China, Russia, U.S. Cold War 2.0, something classic instead of increasing global insanity. Yeah. I kind of am too, in a way. It'll bring some excitement to my day. But, I may regret that, but who knows? And with that, I think I've said my piece. I just got this book in the mail today, and I said, I have to read this. I have to let y'all hear it. I just said that cold. I was like, bro, we got to read this. So, yeah, has to be said. Yeah, they all have a Japan fetish. Yeah, they do. It is sort of like gay extreme homophobes. Exactly. I think with that, I think I've said my piece. I will say, of course, I will try to give the roll call here. I'll try to be like, I'll just give props to everybody in the chat. So, of course, Will DeMarco, Union Army Ball, Uncle Ho, you are welcome. That was interesting. Thank you. And, of course, No More Libs 1975, The Flame, Temujin, Skeptical Mantis. Let me make sure here. Ole. Who else we got here? Let me make sure I didn't want to miss anyone. Of course, The Flame was in here. We had somebody else. I know that there was somebody else in here. That was only probably in here for a minute. Let me see here. Rifles. Oh, yeah. Joseph Alchikawi was in here for a little bit. Weeba Boo. And let me just make sure. I'm going to try to give everyone their props. I'll try to be respectful. I hope I don't, forget about the audience that I've helped to cultivate. I'll put it that way. I'll be careful. I'm not going to get too arrogant. I'm just saying. But I think I've, want to give everyone their props, though. Yep. Take care. Ave. Yep. Exactly. Hoja salute. There you go. Yeah. Hoja salute. There you go. And I think with that, I want to thank y'all for listening. And I think we'll keep it there. Y'all have a good day or good night, whatever time it may be, wherever you are. And goodbye. So let's go ahead and do a good outro. You know what? Let's just go ahead and play this again. Why not? I'm going to go ahead and play this intro one more time. So hopefully it won't echo. We'll find out. And see you later. Goodbye.